Okay, let's open our Wednesday, September 9th, 2020 meeting. I've got 6:31 plus a little. And I guess first order of the day, I will accept a motion to waive reading of the virtual meeting notice.
I'll make that motion, please. Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Tim?
Aye.
Marilyn?
Aye.
Sean, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Norm, aye. Okay, that out of the way. First thing we have is the minutes of 8/24, which are, as I recall, fairly brief.
Yeah, I make a motion to
Actually,
accept.
I'm sorry. I was not at that meeting. And the Conservation Commission should probably be replaced by the planning board.
Hey, Sam.
I apologize. I will change that and I'll remove your name on there, Dave.
All right, thank you.
Make a motion to accept the August 24th minutes with corrections.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call. Tim?
Aye.
Marilyn?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Norm, aye. And next we have minutes from August 25th, which are significantly more lengthy, I guess we'll say.
I'll make a motion to accept the August 25th minutes as presented.
Second.
I'll give everybody a minute to just take a good look, since there's like 4 pages of it.
Excuse me. And while you're looking at that, the last meeting, I actually watched it on the cable access thing. I want to apologize for all the background noise that was coming from my phone at the game. I should have went to a more quieter spot. I didn't realize how bad it was.
Who won, Sean?
We forgive you, Sean.
Okay, well, it's more for the public. I was listening to that and I was like, wow, it picked up everything except what I was saying.
Apology accepted.
All right, I'm
You're
good.
so beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah, you're so
Actually,
beautiful.
the
And he
team,
is so handsome.
my son's team, they're going to the playoffs. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, congratulations.
To him, yeah, he's done really well he's not the greatest player, but he's a valued member. Now, you gotta love this program the town has. So we all set? 1 minute?
Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, we have a motion and a second. In favor, Tim?
Aye.
Marilyn?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Norm, aye. Let's see. Notices from adjacent towns. We do have a thing from the
Oh, interesting.
Holden Planning Board, a special permit for an extension of time on the Village at Westminster Place, which is on Newell Road. Anybody any interest in that?
Well, Dick, if anything, we probably should make sure that the RDIC knows about this, because this is a 125 unit continuing care retirement community.
Yeah.
And if they're on hold, what does that mean about our over 55? I'm just saying, if Holden's having issues, maybe, and I don't know how much Jimmy sold down there either, so that's another question. But they've got a lot of amendments in here. Nothing that's outstanding, but
Well, perhaps it's something that we'll just bring at the next meeting, or if we
yeah,
can
that's
get-
all I was gonna say. That's the only thing for the planning board. It's really nothing, but the RDIC, we should
Yeah.
probably
Yeah,
put it in front of them.
just won't hurt to mention it.
It will not hurt.
Okay.
Speaking of, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Norm.
Yep.
Speaking of mentioning things, was anything mentioned to you or Dave? I've been watching the select board meeting about the acceptance of the Wachusett Road they were talking about last night. Did anything?
We'll bring
I
that up.
don't. Oh, you're gonna bring that up? Okay.
Yeah, Sean, because it's less than 48 hours, I was going to wait towards the end of the meeting to bring that up because it's not
Okay.
on our agenda. And since it was just brought up in the select board meeting, that's less than we could have put on our
Agenda. Yeah.
agenda. So that's why I was going to, when you got to the section, Norm, where it's less than 48 hours, that's where I was going to bring it up about that road on Wachusett Street.
Okay.
Well, I think it could be up for discussion, but just nothing can be. I mean, I don't think anything can be done about it right now, anyways. But I do think that we should have been notified.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
No idea what we're talking about. We'll find out.
You know what? The 33-year-old road that they want to bring up to upgrade.
That is not Wachusett.
No, it's
Ridge Road.
Ridge, yeah.
Oh,
The Old Brook Station Road.
That has a tree growing in the middle of it, or thereabouts.
And there's a lot of stuff going on. So yeah.
I'll bring that up towards.
okay. Okay, next on our agenda, we have ANRs. First one is a 5.5 acre lot located on the easterly side of Glenwood Road. And we have a Form A, and we do have a plan. This is the full-size plan.
Yes, you have the full-size plans over there, yeah.
Hi, Julian's here, if you have any questions.
Okay, want to just explain?
Yep, it's a piece of property off of Glenwood Road. The house and the house and the garage and everything are right up near the road. This Mr. Bell is looking to sell the house, but the neighbor, Sawyer, I believe that's the name of the person, wants to buy the backland to be, this parcel that we're creating, parcel A, is going to be conveyed to them and become part of their property.
You mean Swayze, Julian? Is it Swayze?
Swayze, yeah.
Swayze.
Okay.
Swayze.
So he's just breaking it out to be able to sell it and add to their. So they'll have
Right.
to come back in and get their deed adjusted.
Right, that's all it is. Very similar to what you guys just did there on 122 with the trailer park last meeting.
Yeah.
How Kronk cut off the back piece and it's getting transferred to the man's trailer.
Mhm.
Same situation.
Okay, so the existing frontage is not changing at all, right?
No, existing frontage is not changing, and it's over an acre. It's 2 acres of land, so we're well over what's required for land area.
That couldn't. I mean, he couldn't get a building permit now to do that, correct? Because there's not enough frontage.
There's no frontage. It's a piece of backland going to be connected to his land.
Oh no, Julian, I was talking about the remaining land because it's out in the 1.5 acre area, if I'm not mistaken. This is in the R60 zone.
He could get a building permit to
Replace.
the
Correct.
existing house. if
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah. But this is a non-conforming lot, correct?
I would say. Glenwood
Yeah, it
Road-
doesn't have the frontage, correct.
Okay.
Now has sewer too. It has sewer.
They had to run the sewer line for the school, Glenwood School,
Oh, really?
and it's right across the street is where the manhole cover is.
You're kidding.
Right here.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, so I apologize. This is still in the R40 zone, but it still doesn't have 150-foot frontage.
Hmm.
Yeah, because R60 is all the way down on Brittenell. And this isn't that far down.
Yeah, and this is, like I say, it was,
I just saw Wachusett Street and I'm going, yep.
it took me a while to realize that too.
I'm like, okay.
Okay. Any discussion on this one?
Do we need to have non-conforming on this since it's being redone? Or does it matter?
It was non-conforming beforehand.
Okay, I'm good
In the
with that.
beginning.
All right, I have no problem. Okay, do I have a motion?
Moved.
Motion to endorse. Glenwood, 38 Glenwood Road, ANR.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? I hear no discussion, so roll call vote. Tim,
Aye.
Marilyn,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Dick,
Aye.
Norm, aye. Do we have the Mylar for that?
Right, it's right here.
Okay, we'll sign that after we're done with the rest of our meeting. That was
And
easy.
Marilyn, Sean can come up and sign it.
Mm-hmm.
Marilyn, Sean.
Yes, I'll be in the office on Thursday. If you'd like to come up and sign this.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
we
what
next
is it?
have an ANR on the northeasterly side of Main Street, the southwesterly side of Naquag Street by CB Blair Development. This one definitely a little bit more complicated.
This is Julian again.
Yeah,
This is the piece of land that the Blair, everyone named there, Blair Development, and I believe Cleveland and Nancy own portions of all this. The old lot lines that are plans on record are depicted in the dotted lines. That's how they're on at the Registry of Deeds right now. What they're looking to do is create this lot number 1, which is the new shape. That's equals 0.66 acres. It has a frontage along Main Street, and in the remaining land, that's where the Martelli Construction garage is 2.96 acres. And they have frontage on Naquag, and there's still frontage down on Main Street down below, well over the minimum requirement of 125 feet and 20,000 square feet. So they're creating this lot 1 out of the property.
It's got 3 lots, right, Norm? Or 3 parcels that it's affecting.
well, he's I'm gonna try and look at it this way. He's creating lot 1, let's just say. Okay,
Updating remaining land, correct?
and on the parcel that says 59A parcel 7, that is a lot that is altered.
Correct.
I'm looking for a count here. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
wondering.
1 created, 1 altered, and then there's the rest of the dotted lines in the upper left portion.
I count 5 if I'm doing my numbers right. 2 dotted.
Which is actually just, that lot is disappearing.
Yeah.
So is disappearance a change?
Well, the question is lot or page 164, is that being created You know where it says Cleveland WRODC Book 11229 page?
No, that's a abutter. He's an abutter to that. Cleveland.
Yeah, but
B.
that
Blair
dotted
owns
line
that.
looks like that was part of that property, right?
Well, not really, because that's not a dotted line. It's a
It's a solid line.
dash dotted, dash dotted.
That
Okay,
is,
so
we're not changing that. That deed is shaped as, that's not being changed. The one that's being changed is where the garage is, where the big building is, and that the little triangle down below going towards Main Street. Why they were shaped like that, I don't know, but that's how the deeds are on record, so we have to show it.
so you're saying that parcel 59 or 59A parcel 5 was a triangle?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I was trying to find out, Julie. Because there's a dotted line up at the upper
Creating
corner
this lot.
that goes between page
Yeah.
304 and 164, and I was trying to figure out if that was
Changing this lot.
That's a lot.
Okay,
That's a lot.
all right. So that's just part of another lot
Creating,
line.
Changing.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And I'm
4
gonna
maybe,
leave it
right?
at that. And
1, 2, 3,
see,
4.
if there were a lot line here, that would be different, but there's not.
Pulling this one out of this building here.
But that's on this lot.
Oh, that's right too. Okay.
So I count 4.
Well, I don't know. I'm only counting 3. Depending on whether you think making a lot disappear counts as one.
No, because originally on here with the dotted lines, there was 1, 2, 3 lots. All 3 of those are getting changes, and you're adding to lot 1.
No,
You're
we're
adding
creating the lot one. We're not adding
Thank you.
it. We're
creating a
making
lot
it.
1, so there's 4. That's the reason why I say there was 3 that are changed and adding 1, so that's 4.
Yeah, actually, it went from 3 lots to 2 lots, so we lost a lot. How we do that math?
Yeah, that upper triangle has
So you owe
disappeared.
us.
The upper dotted triangle has disappeared.
Yeah, but you're changing that.
Do we
right?
get that in
Well,
cash?
yeah.
I mean, there were 3 lots here. All
Now
3
there's 2.
Yeah, but there were 3 lots here. They're all 3 being changed.
Well,
And
they were
you're-
parcels. They weren't really lots. They were parcels.
I'm
Yeah.
curious of how a building got put on a parcel, but that's another
Because
whole,
the same guy owned them.
yeah, okay, well, that's not legal in the state of Mass, but that's another whole discussion.
Wow.
We're not here.
Uh,
Um, whatever you guys want to do. I'm past the point of
I think it's what,
giving it.
300 plus 50 a lot, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to propose that the bill is $500.
That's fine.
Okay.
Agreed.
I don't know what the check was that he gave you, so I'll tell him to send up a check.
Okay.
Which is how much? I don't have that in front of me.
The original check was for $350. I had requested another 50 because I read this in a different way than the board's reading it tonight. So if that 50 is on its way, then another check for 100 would be necessary.
So 150 total. I don't think that 50, unless you talk to Clee himself.
I did.
Okay,
I don't know where
so-
that stands though, Julian, so I would just check with them.
All right, so a total of 150 more.
Correct.
All right. Okay. I still like my math. I think you guys all are.
Is it, I guess the two things I'm kind of curious, at least from what I've heard, well, it has nothing to do with the ANR, that this is likely a future site for the cannabis dispensary.
I believe it is.
Okay. And he will be accessing that
Off
structure.
of Main Street.
Main Street.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Will there be a road
Boundary to go to the next step. That's what this is for. Because we got to come in with a site plan for you guys to review and approve. But first step is to get the boundary.
Julian, will the trucks still be going through there to get to the back?
I believe so, but it's way down on the eastern part of this.
So it will not go through that lot.
No, trucks are gonna go through that lot. That road, the road that's there is gonna be used for both.
Okay. So I like what Dave said. There might have to be a
site plan review for a common driveway because one way would serve two lots.
Yeah,
That's a small task. It's just a site plan review process. I think this is pretty basic on the surface.
Well, the whole thing has to go through site plan review anyway.
right.
Well, the marijuana needs a special permit. The
Right.
common driveway would need a,
That's,
consolidate those into one proceeding.
can't really say he's gonna put one there yet without having a license to put one there. But any building will, it still needs to come up review on the property.
No, if he just was gonna build a building there, that's the building inspector. We're out of it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, because it's in
Town
town
center.
center. Thank you. I forgot about that. That's
Mhm.
town center district.
Yeah.
Correct. That's a mistake on my part. Forgot it's TC.
If we're just building a house, no.
But if he puts a building, multi-purpose building there, then it's the TC zone.
Yeah. I don't think you could actually call it anything except a building right now. He's proposing for use maybe, but you got to get a license to sell that in Massachusetts. So
Okay.
Right, so I guess, motion to endorse the ANR plan at 87 Main Street.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Okay, in favor, roll call. Tim,
Aye.
Marilyn,
Aye.
Sean,
aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Norm, aye. Okay, that is ANR.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see.
Maple Hill. Oh, this is the legal leads, correct?
Yeah, Maple Hill Administration. Let me see. We do have a number of, I shouldn't say necessarily a number of things. We have received a copy of the tri-party agreement that Mr. Blair would like us to approve. I looked it over briefly. It certainly looks kind of like a standard tri-party type agreement that we have done many, many times in the past. I did check out the dollar amount. The dollar amount matches the bond estimate that Quinn Engineering gave us as a requirement. So I guess the only question is, to me, do we need to send this out for legal review? Since it has been a while since we have done this kind of thing. Open that one for discussion.
Just because it's a legal agreement, I say yes.
I have to agree. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, that's,
Okay, has anyone looked at this any deeper and sees any, what they feel are major flaws or points of concern?
when I compared it to the tri-party I had like 5 years ago,
Mhm.
it looked almost identical, but
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know.
well,
I don't know if I don't remember 5 years ago if we sent that to Cranston or not. I can't remember that far back.
I don't know.
So that's why I was like, you know what? Since the town's part of the, to Peter's point, it wouldn't hurt just for Amy to give it a cursory review and basically just we're looking for a thumbs up. Is this satisfactory to protect the town? I guess is what I'd ask her.
Correct.
That's it.
Okay, do I have a motion to send the Wow, they're calling it now a subdivision control agreement to town council for review.
So moved.
Second on that.
Any discussion? Okay, in favor, roll call. Tim,
Aye.
Marilyn,
aye.
Sean. Sean. Sean dropped. Dick,
Aye.
Norm, aye. We have a majority. Okay, next. Well, do we have anything else on Maple Hill? I don't think so.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may, Conservation Commission reviewed the conservation restriction at its last meeting. We have a number of changes that we're prepared to make. We're working out with the attorney to get a writable copy of the document so we can begin to share our work and get the review done. Dick, how do you think that meeting went?
Very good. I was very pleased how it went.
Good. So I think we're making progress. I don't think it will take long to complete, as long as we can actually get a writable document and get good communication with the attorney, and we'll be set.
Okay, sounds good.
And we do, you know, you are gonna send us a copy once you get it all set,
Oh, absolutely. I will send you a copy.
because I like to have that in our book at least.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
awesome.
okay. Anything else on Maple Hill? As I don't recall getting anything else new from Quinn. Brice. Okay, then onward to Brice Lemon. We do have a report from Quinn Engineering dated September 3rd. And I don't know, I guess we have, I don't know, something of some issues. I guess, you know, the first thing to say is, for the way he's moving on it at this point, it's pretty obvious that he is going to be looking for acceptance, assuming we have a fall town meeting. That I don't know that for certain, but it certainly would seem that way.
Well, I believe that he better get that trail connected fast. Because it will make us think about that, because that's what, a year and a half ago?
Yeah, you know, that's something, it's got to be done.
Yeah.
But
I lost track of what I'm doing. Get back there.
I guess what bothers me just a little bit, at least I heard, I think Dave, and talking with Clea, said they were talking about doing the finished paving Friday.
Really?
On phase 1. And
Okay.
if he hasn't completed work on that rail trail, and that's going to be, you know, heavy equipment.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me, because the minute you bring in a truck like that, you're gonna,
you know, maybe,
well, you're right.
you know, but that's his problem, I guess.
Yeah.
I just don't like the idea of it. But
It wouldn't take them any time at all, in my opinion, for crying out loud. There's so much equipment up there being run right now. I had to not even bother going up the hill. Once I got near the pumping station, I went just a hair more, and that was it. I couldn't go any further. There was so much business going on up there.
yeah.
And at that time, they were hydro seeding. And when I was there before, a couple of days earlier, and oh my gosh, you know, there were sidewalks, berms, and whatever the heck they were doing, messing around like crazy down there.
Mhm.
But I just feel that we need to be careful. I still want to know how come they're putting that house where the old detention pond seems like it was, and yet in that reg doesn't it say that? Do you classify a detention pond as a wetland?
That's a major change. I don't care. If there's a detention pond there and that changes the plan, that's
Yeah.
not a minor change by moving a lot line.
Well, the detention pond number 2 was not on the Yeah. Then they added it, but now it seems like it's gone, and now there's a house, saw holes within 50 feet of what the heck it was, and I thought wetlands is supposed to keep at least 50 foot away from the wetlands in open space.
Yeah, we need. Yeah.
I would think that Quinn would have observed that.
Is that phase 2 or 3?
It still should be phase 1.
No, that'll be phase 2.
Yeah.
It's phase 2.
Mhm.
It's that close to
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
first
it's-
detention pond.
It's right at the very beginning. That'll be the very, very beginning of phase
Yeah.
2.
So I thought. Well, I presume he is pushing, and again, this is all speculation, to have phase 1's roads accepted possibly in the fall town meeting.
Yeah.
Well, the second to last bullet, I'm not going to get off that one until there is something in there in our documentation for that retaining wall. He still doesn't have it. This is going on, what, 4
Mhm.
months?
Yeah.
It's getting old.
Mhm.
I'm not forgetting this one.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's
and I'm
gonna be
okay
in
with the
place.
last bullet. I think we talked about that, and we just needed to come to a decision on what we needed to do.
Mhm.
I mean, if Chief Buckley doesn't like islands and it was admitted from the plan, I don't have a problem adhering to what the chief wants. But the question is, how do we do that?
I have a copy of the early plans that it's a book about 2 inches thick, and there's no islands in the cul-de-sacs on the plan.
That's because Gary didn't want them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. What's the date on those plans you're looking at?
I don't have it right in front of me. It's the first ones that we got. That's the whole complete plan.
Was that the one that we used for the change when we were going through that down in the lower?
Well, that might be going back all the way to like 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the ones from, if it's not the first one, it's not very far away from it. I just don't know where I put it.
Dave, any advice?
Yeah, that's what I'm struggling
Right,
with.
I recall that I was going to take a look at the plans and look at the documentary history to advise the board further. I have not had a chance to do that yet. I will make an extra footnote here to do that. What I would be telling the board, though, is if you don't see it on the plans and it's not explicitly referenced in the decision, then that should be considered to be a waiver. Waivers can be implied. An implied waiver would be on a plan not showing the islands and where that plan said is accepted and approved. So that would constitute an implied waiver. So I can look at that plan in particular and see if it's referenced in the decision.
So they'd have to do it, Dave, for each as-built phase that they bring in. When we went to approve that waiver would be attached to that as-built plan. Or that would be part of
No,
the
it's the
as.
original, it's the plans of record that were approved
Yeah.
as part of the subdivision approval, the decision in the original plans.
The plans are indicating a waiver.
But
So,
did we-
so you're saying
but
the
in
waiver
the-
doesn't need to be in writing?
That's correct. That's exactly right.
It doesn't have to be in writing?
That's what Dave is implying. If the plans are showing no islands,
Oh, okay. If the plans are showing no
If
islands,
the
then I agree.
plans that are part of the submission did not
But
show
it still
islands,
should have been there for us to waive. And it should be in that book.
Once again, I will look into this information. I'm just going
Yeah.
out another step. If we don't see it on the plans and it's not referenced in the decision, then that can be considered to be an implied waiver as per the subdivision regulations. And the subdivision statutes.
implied.
just note what he said is we can.
Yeah.
Doesn't say we have to.
We never did it before. That's
And
why
see,
I-
that's my opinion is if it's on the plan as not there, just to dot the i's and cross the t's. I'd like complete a request. So that way, if somebody says your subdivision bylaws or regulations say that there should be islands, we approved a plan that didn't have them.
Should be a waiver.
Yeah, that's.
But if we want him to request a waiver,
Do we have to open up a
we
hearing?
we would,
I
as far
knew
as I'm
that.
concerned, we have to open a public hearing because that waiver would be part of the conditions of approval.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too. Okay.
Therefore, if it wasn't ever requested, put the islands in.
Yeah, but the chief doesn't want them.
Too bad, no. If they didn't ask for
See, the problem is the chief has a thing parked out in front of my house, and I really don't want it driving through my house.
well, tell them to
what
bring
is
it down
that,
on my
a,
place. I need something for.
Just across your front lawn,
Yeah, what is those things with the? I'm having a brain death.
road grader.
Yeah, grader. Last thing I need to do is have all my trees. Now, if he does it to the beaver pond, I'm fine with that. But yeah.
Guys, Steve Maintainus, resident actually on Woodside, and just had a question. Who would be responsible for maintaining that island?
You guys.
The homeowners. So I'm guessing you're going to say you would prefer it isn't there, correct?
Yeah, obviously, I'd prefer not to have to pay an HOA or any of that, to be honest.
All right.
Yeah, we have never included any language requiring maintenance on islands in other subdivisions. So
Correct.
it's just been kind of,
It's always been the town's responsibility.
it's town's responsibility, but in most cases, the residents would,
Yeah.
something. Some of them do a real nice job.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Okay. Well.
This is Sean from 73 Woodside. I just had a quick question.
Yep.
With this being a bylaw, is there a reason you guys are so quick to move forward with the change to this bylaw and being required for a subdivision versus not taking out the HOA and things of that nature?
This isn't a bylaw. We're talking about orders of conditions, a waiver to an order of condition or to the subdivision regulations have set design standards. And if we feel it's not, if the builder requests that he doesn't want to do it, say he doesn't want to put in streetlights, he can ask for a waiver on that and we can grant that as a waiver to the conditions of the subdivision regulations design standard.
But also the subdivision homeowners association falls under that as well. And it's up to your board's approval of who the open space gets designated to. It could be Concom, could be anyone that you guys deem necessary. So it's kind of the same guidelines as how I'm reading it. If you guys can change this, and that was originally permitted to have the circles in the middle of the cul-de-sacs, well, your board also approved it and made it a condition that there be a homeowners association to maintain the detention ponds and those drainage structures.
It's definitely not the same. I'm gonna go through a real thought process here.
How to explain it?
To explain why it's not. I guess first of all, the not that this is necessarily a particularly good argument, but when it comes to, for example, these islands, just as when it comes to the berms on the side of the roads, we normally defer to the preferences of the DPW commissioner. If the DPW commissioner wants the 6-inch A berms, we say put in the 6-inch A berms. If they don't want to have the islands in the cul-de-sacs, we normally say, okay, we won't put them in. The open space and detention pond thing and all that sort of thing is different in that in the regulations or in the zoning bylaws, it is that is one of three options that are given for the ownership and the maintenance and whatever of the open space. The other thing I believe is that the ownership is in the open space bylaw, whereas the conditions of the roads and that are in subdivision
Regulation, not bylaw.
which are two distinctly separate entities. That may sound like a lot of double talk.
If I was to go talk to Joe Buckley and he said, okay, we'll maintain these and take them over, would that change the whole thing?
I don't know, you at least, at the very least, have to get Mr. Blair to agree to that. And I don't know, I have someone here who would like to comment.
This is Peter Crane, Chair of Concom. In order for DPW to take it over, the town would have to accept the land, and that hasn't happened in 10 years or more. We've been offered plenty of land, well, small parcels, granted, but the town is unwilling to have it come off the tax rolls. And so the likelihood of getting it through with town ownership of that property is at best remote.
So being open space, it still is on tax roll, even though it's not anyone's property. It's owned by the homeowners association.
It's owned by each deed.
That's right. There's a portion of each deed that owns it so that it is assessed to each of the property owners in the development. So you all pay taxes on it, on the open space portion, the way that it is written today.
So without the town being able to, or unwillingly accept the land for the most part, in the last 10 years, if they haven't, we would never be able to turn it off of a homeowners association without their approval, including the detention.
Homeowners association vote to donate it to a
to someone else who will pay the taxes?
Well,
sure.
If it's a land trust, they probably wouldn't pay taxes on it.
Yeah, it's the first time hearing this from on my end. I was actually told there was no HOA when we purchased the house.
That's wrong.
I'm sure it was in the contract that you signed, though, if I may interject.
I did not sign the contract. Actually, my attorney looked at it and said the same thing. So,
well, that's.
Oh.
Yeah, that's an issue not before the.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to walk away from that one.
Yeah.
But if you were to, if the HOA were to, I don't know what the process would be to donate it. I don't know what the tax implications are. I'm not an expert in this regard. I just know what I've seen the town do repeatedly.
Right.
Yeah. There's another flip side to this, is that there could be an agreement between the homeowners association and the chief that I will maintain those for $1 a year, just to get it on the books. You know, they could hire the town if I'm not. I don't know. It's a question to the chief. Hire the town to maintain this to keep everything in place for $1 a year. I mean, we do it with the Wood House. They lease it for $1 a year for the.
You got a good fire department also.
Yeah. So the same thing with the old fire station. So. Mike, I'm not saying that this can be done. I'm just saying it's something that I just thought of.
Yeah.
You know.
That would have to go through selectmen, though.
This is Maria from 69 Woodside Ave. And I was just wondering, since there's not going to be a fence and there's not going to be a guardrail, and I was told that there was going to be a curb, but the fire chief does not want a curb, or the DPW does not want a curb. He wants a berm. A berm is very inviting for a fast car that's going to slide on that Woodside Ave slope. Or if someone goes in off-roading, I just want to know what DPW, have they looked at it? Or did they change their minds about a guardrail since it's a berm and not a curb? Because as an HOA person, apparently, I still want to know if I'm going to be liable, and I want that in writing somewhere. Because with a berm, it is way different than a granite curb.
First of all, the term berm and curb can be used interchangeably. They mean the same thing. Okay. Now, the material is different. Granite curbs are different from asphalt curbs, or granite berms are different from asphalt berms.
Correct.
So to say there is no curb, it's semantics.
Just a different shape.
Yeah.
So, in this saying it's semantics and they can be used interchangeably, why was it specifically requested that in front of the Blair Show House there'd be 250 feet roughly of asphalt curbing, not berms, curbing? And it's a completely different from the left side of the road to the right side of the road. The left side, as you pull in, is a slanted berm. The right side is a squared off 6-inch high asphalt curb. And it was specifically requested that it be that shape, and it was differentiated between berm and curb when this started.
The differentiation between the two of those, and first of all, that was only at the very entrance to Woodside because of the necessity due to an error in placing the retaining wall, and the DPW commissioner asked for, he may have used the word curb. It's what's defined as a 6-inch A berm. Okay, whereas the other berm on all the rest of the road is referred to as a Cape Cod berm. Right.
Going back and watching that previous meeting, it was said between you and several other board members that there was a strict difference between those two. And that's why it was requested that way, because there was a lack of guardrail in that area. And there was supposed to be a guardrail along that fencing area where the retaining wall is. And with the error in placement, it was made for the 6-inch curb versus Cape Cod berm in that area.
I think you're confusing two different issues. The 6-inch A berm was put in due to the fact that because the retaining wall was not put according to the original plans, there was not the required space for a 2-foot grass strip between the sidewalk and the berm. That basically is a totally different item from the, what I want to call it, the change in the requirements for that head wall, which now has also a fence on top of it. Right. Those were two separate issues.
Okay. And I just have one more question for Peter. So you're saying that this is pretty much virtually impossible to be able to turn the detention pond in that section of open space to the town or pretty much to anybody else?
If I may, through the chair, I'm sorry, can everybody still hear me? I'm having difficulties. Okay. Since the homeowners association owns it, couldn't they donate it to the town?
The town has to accept the donation, and they won't. Excuse me.
Even if it's
They
free?
have not recently. What's that?
I mean, it's an idea. They could approach. It's just you keep coming back to the planning board on this issue, and it's been. I mean, I think it's been kind of slightly put out there that we really have no recourse for you, and not to be completely blunt, maybe you should try this other avenue and see if the town could donate it to the town. I mean,
But the town, I understand where you're on, and the town has to be willing to accept that. And I made mention to that to the former town administrator, and he steered me back towards you guys, saying it was a planning board decision and the town would have no say or no guidance on how to move forward with that. Hence why we've been coming back to you guys repeatedly.
but I think, yes, but I think if I may again through the chair, Norm, I mean, it seems like we can't help these people, and I'm frustrated as an elected official in seeing that I can't help you. I know we've discussed about changing the bylaw, but that's a long process. And I want your situation to be changed for the better. But, in all due respect, you signed up for it when you bought the house.
Not necessarily disclosed to you.
You did.
At the table.
You did. It's your diligence to go through that contract that you've made with, your attorney. Now you could say your attorney went through it. I'm not trying to give you legal advice on that, but with all due respect,
and
this is going around in circles. If I may through the chair, please let me finish. No, I think we need to move on from this subject because it's just going around in circles until something can be, changed and we can work on the change of the bylaw to have the town accept it. I think it's taking up valuable time when other members of the other aspects of the agenda, and we can move on, please.
Norm, let me ask you and Peter. To me, my thought process right now, if it is a donation they want to do, they should get in front of the homeowner, should get in front of the select board and say, this is what we would like to do. Can you give us some advice? Because ultimately they have to put it on a warrant and put it before the town. We as a planning board can't do that.
I'm not sure they have to take it at town meeting.
Could they take it themselves?
I think I remember that they're allowed to take it themselves, but they have been unwilling to do so.
Well, still, to Sean's point,
that was one of the other things. That was one of the other. That almost held up the Maple Hill Estates CR because someone thought one or more select board members believed that land would, through the CR, come off the tax rolls.
Oh.
And so they would have been unwilling to sign the CR if that were the case.
Okay.
So at least certain members of the select board have made it very clear they do not want to accept land from donation. They don't want it to come off the tax rolls.
Okay. Well, just to sort of, because coming to Sean's point, coming back to us, we're not helping them solve any problems. So to get an answer to can they donate it and to close that loop, I think they need to get in front of the select board.
And I'm as frustrated as I think anybody is on this whole thing. I don't know, Tim, I've got to agree with you. I don't see why it's not worth a shot.
Yeah, I say try it.
Give it a try. Come up with, your best possible reasons.
Yeah.
And
you might even get a letter from Chief Buckley saying, "I'll take care of it if it's taken over by the town." Maybe that gives them more credibility in front of the select board. I don't know, but going in fully armed is better than just going in and saying, "Will you take the land?"
Yeah.
And what time?
All right, if I may make another suggestion.
The open space up in the back.
Yeah. That's just my thought process.
And to me, that's why we put easements in there so that they can get in to fix any drainage problems and things like that to the detention ponds. Yeah. And usually it's the town that does it. It's their responsibility. That's why the easements were put in these people's house lots.
And then I'd say, Norm, as a backup plan, talk to Chief Buckley and see, could I get an agreement with you as a homeowner's agreement to do my maintenance, since you want to do it anyhow and we can't do it because the bylaw says we can't? Can I buy it from you for $1 a year, or come up with some number that isn't burdensome to the homeowner?
It just, I hate to sound negative here. It just seems like these people that are in this subdivision just don't want to afford to take care of it when they're contractually obligated to.
Yeah, guys, I think you're right. I mean that's definitely part of it. I think there was a little deception on behalf of the current owners, and then obviously transferring it to the people that purchased the property. Obviously, we don't want to do something that I mean, I can speak for myself, not everybody else, but I deliberately asked. I reviewed all the contracts. I'm a commercial banker. I've read everything, and I'm really perplexed at this HOA that I'm being told about. So I mean, it puts a bad taste in my mouth. Whether it's 10, 15, $50 a month, it doesn't matter. It's the concept. It's the moral concept of it.
And sir, may I suggest you speak to an attorney and see what recourse you can have against the person who sold you the house.
Understood. Thanks.
All right.
Anyway.
Can we move on, please, if I may?
Yeah, the only thing is, in closing here, that it seems very, very obvious to me, there is nothing that the planning board can mandate to solve this situation.
Nope. All we can do is keep giving advice. We can't do anything.
Right.
So moving forward, who with the town select board should I go to directly to start this conversation?
Chairman.
Well, either the chairman or our interim TA. I don't know. That's Chief Monaco. I don't know what he is doing in terms of maintaining the selectmen's agenda and all of that sort of thing.
Norm,
Mitch Ricchetti is the chairman.
Tamika.
Norm, if I may, I can reach out to Sean. I would say the best bet would be to start with Chief Monaco. And then from there, he takes that usually to Mitch, and then they have a conversation as to, what goes on the agenda, and then I set that up.
Okay.
I can give the contact information to Sean if he'd like to start with the chief.
Yeah, I'll start there first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay. Onward.
Okay, so I got past phase 1, Norm. That's the God. And then I started reading phase 2, and I'm not liking the erosion issues that are showing up in phase 2.
Excuse me, if I can interrupt for 1 second, I apologize. Nick Nugent, 9 Sedona Circle. I believe there was a bullet point on phase 1 that wasn't covered. I just wanted to hear you guys talk about that. The overlap of excess pavement underneath the curbs.
Right.
So I had reached out. Sorry?
It's noted in this report that it has not yet been removed.
Yes.
Right. I just want to bring it to your attention that the area that has not been removed, they did about a little less than half in front of my house. The area that has not yet been completed has been loomed over and hydro-seeded. I just wanted to bring that to your attention that, doesn't appear. There's been, I believe, Mr. Georges, you've been on the email correspondence with Clee and the residents of Sedona Circle. It's just it doesn't look like they're going to actually do it.
Well, let me that picture, Dave, that you sent us, that was loom and hydro seed over the concrete. Is that what I saw?
I have to leave it to the email that describes the pictures to indicate what's happening with what you see.
The picture didn't really show that.
Okay, well, that's what I was trying to figure out. I'm trying to put what they've got with what I saw in the picture, and I'm not. 1 and 1's not equaling 2.
Well,
so I had actually taken the pictures that I had originally emailed, and they were just a picture of the curb that was recently installed, and then the overlap of pavement from the base coat that was extending beyond the curb. You know, my original issue was that, you know, if they just put loam and 2 inches of loam and grass seed over it in the summertime, that's going to all burn out. You know, it's never going to be able to sustain grass and directly affect our curb appeal and thus the value of the homes.
And you say that they have loamed and seeded without removing it?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, that's his first email. I apologize. I was looking at that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think basically we're just
Definitely need to note that to Quinn
for a little-
as a
sorry.
reminder.
Okay.
Yeah, the residents, I can speak on behalf of them. We're just looking for a little support in our neighborhood because, you know, this pattern of the Blairs doing something, the residents taking note of it, and then, you know, we play catch up together. I just wanted to express that. I know you guys are busy and there's other things going on in the town, but we're really feeling like being cheated and cheaped out on.
Understood.
And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Actually, I just got a little clip from Dave George that Quinn has already been notified of that. So.
Because that's phase one, that would go on our,
Yep.
What has to be done before you
yeah.
get the road in front of town.
Yep.
Okay, good. That's
And,
excellent.
you know, he's going to have to demonstrate to us that he did it.
It better not be 99 issues come up, because I'll go through the roof before Dick will.
Okay.
So again, we got onto phase two, and I was seeing, you know, runoff issues, erosion observed on concrete collars. Is this something that we should ask? I mean, reading this and not knowing the severity of it, that's my tough part.
Okay.
Like if Carl said, Carl, is this just something that's part of standard construction that'll be
Okay.
fixed?
Now, the runoff on the concrete collar, because I went over, I saw that.
Okay.
That is something that, as Quinn says, will have to be repaired.
Okay.
Is it something that is posing a huge danger right now? No.
Okay. I'm fine with that then.
I believe the other part of the runoff that these people have been talking about has been from the hillside onto the house lots.
Correct. And that's not our problem, I guess.
Well, no, it's,
So who reviews the lots, guys?
you know, it isn't a question of problem or not. No, it's not in that jurisdiction.
Yeah.
It just isn't.
It's Billy or Willie's, correct? And the building inspector is part of the building permit.
I would also say homeowners too.
I would, again,
I don't know. I don't want to
have
say.
Is it something that is causing a danger?
Yeah.
You know, is water coming down off the hillside posing a danger? Is there going to be a landslide, you know, or a potential landslide? Well, yeah, then it probably is. If
Yes.
it's the fact that there's water running over his newly seeded lawn,
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that because you and I both know what's over.
oh yeah,
That was a danger until it was fixed.
yeah.
But I mean, if it's a question of, you know, is it going to be an issue to a property? I mean, me personally, I would talk to the building inspector about that.
Yeah.
Because planning board doesn't have any jurisdiction over
We
lots
we
other than
don't.
making sure it's the correct size.
Right.
That's it.
And I will grant you, and I'm not trying to stick up for Mr. Blair, but he takes his own sweet time about correcting things, but it seems to me that stuff like that, in the end, he usually will.
Yeah, because just for an example, over by on your side, Norm, when they were having waters issues, they put in that riprap little drainage ditch down to the basin.
Yeah.
So that was fixed.
Yeah. But how long did it take?
That's not month, that's,
Yeah,
Year.
yeah.
So-
Nine year.
but that's, that's just my own observation.
But the advice to the homeowners, I would say, if you're gonna engage somebody, it's probably gonna be Willie.
It's almost got to be the building inspector.
Yeah. That would be my advice.
Because I would assume that on most of this runoff, probably the problem is that the lawns have not established themselves. The water's running down, so what was nice loom up here is now kind of a pile down here. And
how many acres up above is the watershed also?
Well, that's kind of another story.
Mr. Chair, Peter Crane again. I've been involved in some email exchanges, and it's my understanding that some of the runoff problems are caused by improper road construction. Some of them I've been told been repaired already. I don't know about all of them. Certainly not all the complaints. Yes, I'll see if I can find that email and forward it to you.
Yeah,
because we don't have that in the Quinn report.
No.
And I would have think Carl is thorough as thorough.
No, in fact, the one I'm thinking of, the first one I heard of, Quinn was never involved. Carl never got involved in it. It was, I believe, directly between the homeowner and Blair, and I only got notification of it just before he repaired it.
See, I would.
I'll find the email.
Yeah.
And from
Is that Carl?
I'm sorry?
Is that Carl?
No, this is Peter Crane.
Peter, sorry, I apologize. Steve Maintainus.
That's okay.
What lot number were you referring to?
I have no recollection at this moment. I have to dig through my email chain,
Peter,
through my few thousand
I'll
emails.
look it up.
Oh, great. Thank you, Tamika.
But Norm, if something like that happened, shouldn't Carl be advised? Because he's got to, if there's a repair to a road that he's already inspected, that doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
He's got to sign off on it.
Sounds like
That's what I'm getting at. If there's been a repair to a road,
If something wrong and it was repaired, that must have been a pretty quick fix.
I vaguely recall that it was a grading of the road that was changed.
Oh boy.
No.
Again, this is my memory, so don't
No, I'm not
trust
taking it. But if there was any changes, Peter's what I'm getting at.
No,
when he expected
no argument. Yeah.
I think Carl should have been involved in that. Just even if he just looks at it and says, "Yep, looks good," makes a note of it, puts it in a report. We've got it documented. That's what I'm struggling with right now.
Oh, that's right.
Something
Concom got
sounds
involved because the
strange.
water was running off right into wetlands. That's why we got involved at all. Again, so says my limited recollection.
And again, I don't really want to press you too much,
Mhm.
but if you said that some grading was changed on the road,
Yes.
that would have had to have been before it was paved.
No.
You mean they ripped up pavement, regraded?
I don't know the mechanisms that they used.
Gentlemen, I think there was a berm that was actually put in place, a V-cut berm down on the end of Oakley that actually directed water to both of the drainage systems.
That
Looks
we
like
have pictures of,
Yeah. Okay.
which if that's all that amounted to,
That's a different story.
that's a totally different story.
Yeah.
Peter, the address was 40 Woodside Ave that we had the wetland concern with. Those were the emails that we had back and forth with Larson as to how they
Oh, yeah. Right. Yep.
Yeah. And then the homeowner said that Mr. Larson had fixed it.
Almost all the way to the top of the hill. It would be.
That's Brandon. Yeah. Okay.
That might be 40.
Can you forward that whole chain to Norm, please, Tamika, when you get a chance?
Sure thing. I'll do it right now while I'm thinking of it.
Thank you.
All right. So. All right.
Okay.
So the other bullet I saw, Norm, which was this temporary runoff diversion berm, beginning of Oakley Drive.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with. I've never heard that terminology before. Temporary runoff diversion berm.
Right.
That's a new one on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
That's the second picture on the next page.
Yeah, I saw that, and
It looks like a speed bump.
Yeah, is that so?
But that's only temporary?
Yeah.
Well, I guess and again, if Carl was here, I'd ask the question, what's the replacement of that? Graded road, changed height?
No, the problem there is that if you follow that picture going down the road, okay, the drainage structures along that part of the road are probably not functioning at this point.
Okay.
So once those are functioning, it won't be needed.
All right. I just had never heard that terminology before, so. All right. Good enough. I'll just.
This just shows that berms can have different appearances.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I backed over it, I wondered who the hell I backed over.
Well, yes.
What the heck?
Yeah. It's higher than even when you look at it.
Yeah.
Maybe when you drive over it. Yeah.
If I may, I just wanted to, have any of you guys actually seen this development, this Oakley Circle? The reason for the berm is because the runoff is so severe because they were allowed to carve into a gigantic hill, and they haven't properly created a drainage system for the natural runoff when it rains and so forth. They've kind of done half a job, and so the road, instead of being diverted into the runoff system, it comes down the road and then washes out and potentially floods people's homes. I'd suggest you all take a ride up there. It's quite shocking.
Been up there.
I've been up there at least a half a dozen, maybe a dozen times.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should take a ride up there in the next rainstorm. It's practically impassable.
And I guess the problem, which, to be perfectly honest with you, I'll say I just wouldn't buy a house with a subdivision in that condition at that point, because among other things, the drainage system is not going to function as designed at this time.
No,
it just is not going.
So that's kind of unfair to say. You buy a home, you expect things to be taken care of to the point where you can at least live there. At what point does the drainage system need to be done? I mean, we're over 2 years. I've been living in this neighborhood for 2 years. They've been working on it for far longer than that. I mean, that's not really fair to say that you shouldn't buy a home in a newly developed neighborhood. That's half the town.
Well, I mean, everything has to be finalized upon road acceptance from the town.
Right.
Until then, it can still be worked on. I mean, when the town accepts the road, it has to be to the design standards of the town for the road.
Right.
And right now, my understanding is the only thing they're going to possibly please going to go for is phase 1. Phase 2 isn't on this. That's what I'm looking for. Fall town meeting?
No. Phase 2
might not even make the spring meeting. I mean, it just depends.
So if the detention pond is in phase 1 and the road is lower in elevation than phase 2, isn't the town by default going to be dealing with the issues of them not completing the drainage system?
No, we just won't accept it.
First of all, the detention pond will not be a part of phase 1.
Even though it's located in phase 1?
It's located, but it's also serving phase 2. So,
so Woodside Ave being a continuous road, will you guys accept partial of Woodside Ave as phase 1 only, or do you have to have the completed road?
We can accept it up to a certain, like what do they call that? The C-00 number?
Yeah, there'll be a certain station number
Station, thank you, Norm.
that it will be accepted to.
And that's as far as it'll go.
Yeah, and that's basically right about at the pump station.
Okay, well, I can appreciate that response a lot more than just saying don't live here. So thank you.
And well, you know, as I said, there's no way that, among other things, drainage structures, when I mean, there's no way that you're not going to be living in some dust.
Yeah, until they
you
get
know, until this thing is much closer to completion. That's New England.
Standing water observed. So phase 3, they're just, if I'm not mistaken, that's just, he's working on the road from
Main Street
in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Have you been in there? Have you gone up? Has anybody,
I haven't gone up with the truck yet because I'm not taking the car.
honest to Pete, and Pete ought to be going up there, especially after every rain, because I was told they have to fix all the drainage up there because it gets washed out. To me, for crying out loud, number one, how did we allow them to, open the whole place up like that? Where is it down the bottom? Isn't it next to the wetlands? Yes, it is. If we get a heck of a rainstorm, for crying out loud, man, I tell you.
You think it's going to wash out all the way down, Dick?
You better believe it.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid.
And to me,
Tim,
it's going to be something else.
Just to chime in, it does wash all the way down the road because all the drains are clogged, everything is blocked, and when it rains heavy, they had a complete mudslide that came right down the center of the road to the point where they had to put in bark mulch and bales and stuff across the road to keep it from coming all the way down and going into the detention pond, over the curbing, over the edge, and
that's unacceptable. We're getting into Bear Hill all over again, except in a different variation.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this something to,
especially where the growing season is coming to an end? Yeah. And to me, this is very critical.
Something, Norm, we should have Carl and Clee come in and talk about? Because we've had enough homeowners now give us...
On both sides of the hill, we need to know.
Because I'm reading Carl's phase 3, and I'm not excited about some of these bullets. With standing water, swales completely filled, observed diversions to swales, standing water in them. Well, I just...
See, I'm still kind of thinking on phase 2.
Oh, okay. I don't like, now I understand what you're talking about with that berm. And see what's coming down to the grading. I get what they're doing.
Yeah. If there is anything that we can enforce about stabilization of the soil as we're getting well into September.
I'd almost, Peter, to me, this is almost a conservation, because you're moving dirt into a road. Yes, we don't like that, but in the past I've seen, you put up, not you personally, but they put up the silt fences, they put the bales of hay.
Lots of erosion control, yes. So from a Conservation Commission point of view, I have 2 brief comments. One is what's going to matter. Well, no, let me start with the second point first. Second point first, this is out of Rutland's hands.
Okay.
Because the Conservation Commission passed an order of conditions that was appealed, and the state DEP took it over. This is 100%, wetlands concerns are the state for the subdivision and its drainage system.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, having said that, and I'll tell you exactly what the DEP will care about, is any of the dirt that's coming down ending up in the wetlands. That's going to be their bottom line. If any siltation makes its way into the wetlands, they will take action. I'm not going to say they won't with the drainage system being filled with dirt.
The storm scepter being
Yeah, that's a whole nother problem because it's going to defeat the purpose of what they're trying to do with it. But most of the detention ponds are blocked up right now anyway, especially in 2 and 3. But it might be worth asking DEP to come out and take a look, because that is somebody who can see it and take action. And if there are specific is too strong a phrase. If there are complaints about runoff getting to the road and getting to the storm system, that should be enough to get them interested.
Peter, this is Sean from 73 Woodside.
Hi, Sean.
Side note to that, I've already spoken to DEP in regards to the detention pond and stormwater management and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they are aware through communication that there is stormwater issues out here and ownership and responsibility and things like that. So they are aware of some issues that have been brought to the planning board and brought up through discussion. And then also with that is if these drainage structures do fail and cause a issue with the detention pond, this is kind of where we've been going with this is, yes, who's responsible for it when it does fail? If these drainage structures that the town owns runs into this and the issue isn't corrected now.
And the fast answer is we want to get it all documented so the current owner fixes all the issues before property is transferred to anyone else. No matter where it goes, whoever gets it, you want the developer, you want it all documented so the developer fixes it under the administration of the appropriate body, whether that's Concom, DEP, planning, whoever.
And that's what, that's why we have our inspection system.
Absolutely. Or for that matter, the building inspector. They're all there. It's all.
So I guess I would ask, with all of these concerns of the homeowners out there, can we ask Carl, maybe come up with a list? I don't know what I'm searching for. I'm trying to get Carl to hone in on, is there some of these bullets that he has that I'm trying to read between the lines on? Is there serious conditions that we need to worry about? I mean, like I said, phase 3, every one of those bullets scare the heck out of me. if we get the fall rainstorms like we've had over the past few years.
Now, Peter, you don't get a copy of this, do you? I believe maybe he should, because the last on this, although not a planning board preview, the board may want to note some sedimentation was observed beyond the erosion control barrier at the diversion swale discharge.
That is exactly a point that DEP should be aware of. Pictures should be sent.
So is this something that we should be saying to Quinn Engineering?
Yeah.
You will notify DEP of any of these circumstances.
Well, I think Quinn's got to come through us and we got to notify DEP.
Well, then.
But what I'm saying, to your point, Dick, other than just making a bullet point, Carl, can you get us some pictures and some documentation to give to DEP to show them exactly what's going on so they can act, other than a bullet point?
I feel that not only should it be DEP, but a copy should also go to Concom.
I have some videos from that we've had. I can forward off to Tamika of the runoff of the issues we've had.
Same here.
Send them on into send them to Tamika. Tamika will get them to Concom.
And get them to Norm. So having that documentation to both.
I think, yes, you're right. Both boards should absolutely have the same information available. Yeah, I don't intend to limit the distribution of this.
No.
I just want to make sure we're working together. Now that I did not know DEP took this over, so my next question, just for my information, who's the town's DEP contact? 'Cause we had
It's the
Jeff-
project's DEP contact. I have to find out.
Okay, Mr. Domain?
It could be. I've seen
he's
so
the one
many.
that called
I've
the-
seen so many people
Yeah.
from DEP involved in the site walks. I can't tell you exactly who the right people is. It might be Judy Schmidt. It might be. I could rattle off a half dozen names. I can send out a quest to the right people at DEP to find out who the right people are.
That's a good idea.
Well, that's what I was getting at. I'd like to know if we have to get anybody involved instead of fumbling through for a couple of weeks, just get a name and be able to get that person involved. Because I really don't want the publicity of Bear Hill again. And this sounds to me like it's starting to shape up.
Well, like I say, the time is getting very limited for grass to
Yeah,
grow. and hills
Grow's
and-
got another month,
And that's it.
maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah, at the most.
Yeah, 6.
Okay. Well, that's my view.
Here, as a DEP contact, I spoke with Denise Childs.
Oh,
and
Denise, okay.
She was familiar with this whole project.
All right, I'll contact Denise and I'll ask her if she would like to stay this person, or would like to hand this off to somebody else.
Okay. Excellent. All right.
Because she's high enough up the DEP, she has enough responsibilities that she may not want to be the point person.
But the other flip side of this, just to be fair to the applicant, we should let Mr. Blair's company know that it's no longer, we're getting involved, to just give him a heads up. I hate sort of, after the fact.
Yeah, but
No, that would actually be disingenuous. If I were to just go to DEP with whatever pictures and videos and not notify, the very first thing you do is you always let the landowner try to fix it.
Yeah. Well,
And if they don't, that's when
That's what I was.
things get
That's
nasty.
what I was trying to do. If understand that now we've gotten reports on phase 2 and 3 with diversionary berms and standing water. It's not acceptable. What are you going to do to fix this? Well, or what is your plan to mitigate any mud coming down the road and having to use bales of hay to stop it? I mean,
straw, bales of straw.
Yeah, bales of straw, hay, I don't care. But everything they've said, and if the videos even show more of that, then I've got a big problem. And I get it's in construction. I do. I've been in construction. I see how things aren't perfect in construction, but it's the stabilization portion that's bothering me right now, especially with houses being built. I can't comment on that because I'm not the building inspector, so I won't.
Norm, I just have one more question, Sean from 73 Woodside. If the runoff from phase 2 is affecting phase 1, does that delay the road acceptance for phase 1?
I would say if phase 1 can't handle,
I don't
know how you.
But a good point, though.
It's a point. I'm just looking at where, phase 1 ends.
Pumping stations?
And yeah, it's roughly. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, what station?
Okay, but it's very, very close. Well, it's a point, you guys have to stop putting the berms back in. I just don't picture
It's a spring.
as a problem. I'm not saying you can't.
Yeah. Never say never.
Yeah, that's right.
And again, maybe this is a question to ask Carl. Is there anything, now that we've had people living in that subdivision asking questions. Is there something that he, sees other than, because, I mean, again, I look at this phase 2 report and I see runoffs in backyards, some erosion on concrete, but nothing to me that's a showstopper other than this diversionary berm that I don't like. But again, not seeing that.
Welcome to the Massachusetts Cannabis Industry Park.
Seeing that it's still in construction, I can give a little leeway, but if there's a landslide of water coming down the center of the road, that's a huge problem for me, even in construction. I mean, come on. I can see runoff on the side of the road. I'm okay with that. But if it's coming down the center of the road and this berm's acting like the Hoover,
I'd rather see it come down the middle of the road.
Oh. Well, there's swales.
It can undermine.
Yeah. Well, this looks like the freaking Hoover Dam in the middle of it. Wow. Anyhow,
one of the things it appears that the runoff from the rear, rear of the lot, rear lots of 51, 53, 57, and 59. So you're getting a continuous run of 4 lots coming down off the hillside, all going in the same direction. Okay, and then flows across the lot and then into the side.
And again, I don't have the drawing in front of me, but I'm guessing all 3 or 4 of those lots are at the end of the cul-de-sac, right where the hill is coming down. When I'm looking at this picture 1.
Well, this is
picture 1. See where the vehicle is, and then behind the vehicle, there's that. In the Midwest, that would be called a ski slope, but in New England, it's just
the thing is, if it's number 51, 53, 57, 59, those are all on Woodside, not on the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the microphones are muffled, so we're not able to hear what you guys are saying.
That's good.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out, and again, I don't have the drawing in front of me, where these 3 lots were, but Norm had indicated they're on the Woodside, which, okay. Then they're not in the cul-de-sac, so then I'm really getting confused.
I would say they are. There's the one house that's closest to the front of this second picture.
Yeah.
And then just go right down the road.
Yeah.
Those things, because if you look in back, the land is higher in back, the backside of each one of those houses.
And there was some erosion behind that back house.
Okay.
The first time I went down there about a week ago.
All right, I gotta wait. I'm working at home the next 2 days, so if we get rain tomorrow, I'm just gonna take the old truck and take a meander up there and take a look.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Do we have anything else on
No.
Brice Lemon? The phase 3. I don't know. I guess what sticks out to me is the third empty bullet as opposed to the blacked in bullet.
What does that mean?
It says he expects utilities in Woodside Ave may be revised in the near future.
What? That could be electric, that could be sewer, that could be water. What does that mean?
That one.
You remember that, what, is it a water or sewer line that was, what, 20-something feet down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going to bring that up, or?
Or is it going to be made larger? Who knows?
Again, this just is like, I don't know where to go with it other than can you tell us, you've got plans, you're supposed to follow them, and if you're not, when are we going to get advised of things changing? There's my frustration. And I'm not saying as-built, but if you've got changes, we brought him in here once before and said, listen, all we ask is be advised of the changes.
Yeah.
We're not telling you to revise the drawings, but let us know. And that's still not happening. And there goes my frustration.
Okay, who's talking about me?
That would be Mr. Narwhal.
Mr. Norwald, I can't see you. How the hell do I get out of this thing? Wait a minute.
You move the catch basin to the side, and you climb out of the catch basin.
Yes, Clee, what?
I don't have Wi-Fi in there.
All I'm saying is, a while back, when all these as-built changes were going to happen for phase one, and you came in with some lot moving, I distinctly remember saying, all we want to do is be advised of the changes. We're not saying you got to send us an updated drawing every time you do it, but advise us of the changes. And I'm not seeing that with these reports that I'm reading now from Carl.
What don't you see? And what do we? I can't hear you. Hold on.
Okay.
I can't. For some
Can
reason.
you hear me now?
I can hear you fine, but Dave. It says Dave George. Oh, you guys have got this thing on the screen. I apologize. So, what's the question? Speak to me.
On phase 3, Norm pointed out, it says expects utilities, and this is Mr. Gerard talking. It says he expects the utilities in Woodside Ave may be revised in the near future. I indicated that I heard from the developer the same.
I did. I talked to Carl about it because I wanted to know. I wanted to get his feelings about it. What happened there, Tim, is that, and the board that I can't see, is that the road is curved, and the easement for the road is supposed to be 50 feet. It's 80 feet. So what I asked Carl was if I could just move the road over 30 feet, and how, what needed to be done in order to do that. So he said, I don't think that the planning board would have a problem with it. He said, but you need to submit a plan. And the plan's almost done. But I mean, this just happened a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
And I also, I just want you to know that every single solitary thing we do there, Joe Buckley, we bring him in on everything. I mean, he has input on any single change or any single thing that gets done.
With Clee, and this is through Norm, my point is, we're the record holders of the plan. So I get Joe being involved. I'm fine with that. But if a question comes to us and we can't answer it because we don't have the information, I don't want to be put in that situation.
Well, no, it's just not ready yet. I just came up with it. I apologize, but yeah, I mean, I have every intention, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight was that underground storage over there. Are you aware of that? That big underground storage right at the beginning of Woodside in Phase 3 on the right-hand side.
No, what underground storage is it?
What
water?
kind of storage?
Is
it's
it
drainage? It's for drainage, and it's the worst possible nightmare for upkeep in the world for maintenance. It's a series of 48-inch pipes. I'm not kidding you when I tell you, to build the thing is $200,000 just to control drainage. It's crazy. Plus, how do you take care of stuff underground when it fills up with mud? It's the same thing as these infiltrators that are all over the place. It's just this stormwater management is going to be, and here's the problem with that. It's all up to the people of the site. Really, it's not, because the town ends up having to take care of it. But the point is that those things are just nothing but nightmares. All those infiltrator galleries and all of the that big underground storage thing, that's got to be changed. And that's something else I'm bringing to you guys as well. I mean, that just so you know, I mean, Take a look at the plans.
Have you talked to Carl about this? What's
Absolutely.
Carl's- Okay.
Absolutely. He said, look, if it works, it's fine. If it doesn't, we'll have to see the way it goes. I'm trying to make just a regular detention pond there as opposed to having all that underground storage. It's a maintenance nightmare. It's a maintenance nightmare. I don't know how you clean it. It's 4 feet underground, 6 feet underground.
I don't recall it.
I'm the same thing. I'm like, I don't remember
This is
seeing
news to me. It's the first time I've ever heard it.
It was on the plan, Clee?
It's all up on the plan, all approved under stormwater management. Don't forget, you guys don't really get involved in that because what I did simultaneously was take it to the Conservation Commission and to you guys. And Quinn did the review for both. But those guys reviewed the drainage and they approved the drainage, not you guys. So that's why you're not aware of all that stuff.
But if it's part of the infrastructure.
We will hang the man here.
No, but it's honestly, it's always the Concom. Every town I go, the Concom is who usually approves drainage on a site.
You're not on the hook because this happened so many years ago.
May I ask Dave or something like that to send us a copy of what the hell this thing looks like?
I mean, honestly, I would probably go. This sounds to me like we're getting to a point maybe where we need to have a Carl session.
Yeah.
Where Carl came in last time and we had a bunch of points and we killed a bunch of things like that when Carl came in for one couple-hour session.
Well, maybe this is something that we ought to have.
I think maybe it's time maybe for the next meeting with some of these bullet points have come up with the drainage, with the berms, with this 48-inch underground piping system.
Yeah.
Have Carl come in and say, or with the utilities, the road moving, let's have Carl come in and give us a
presentation.
Yeah, or just discussion of these points and how we're going to handle them and get his opinion. So we're not guessing at this is what I'm getting at.
I would agree. I would tell you this too, that I try to remember to copy Dave on usually everything. I don't know if you're out of the loop, Dave, I apologize, but you should be copied on anything that we do or anytime we do it so you can keep the board abreast. That's probably, where I failed on that road. I did, because I happened to call Carl on that, not send it over on an email. But, just to get back to the road for just a second, it is way out of whack. It way out of whack. It's got to move over at least 25 feet, 20 feet.
But that'll put utilities in the center of the road, correct?
We have to move the utilities, but just, it's basically just sliding them over. So for some reason, we ended up with an 80-foot wide easement there. I'm just going to shrink it down to the 50 like it's supposed to be. And, and Kyle said that he had a comment way back during the approval process in 2014. He said, why is there that long spite? He called it a spite strip. So what we did was we just included it in the road easement so that it wouldn't create a spite strip. And I'm just going to move it all over because I don't know if you saw the plans, but those 3 lots when you first come in, they're atrocious, and this will fix them. This will fix those lots so that they're actually will look good.
Norm, I guess what I'd like to do with that, and you guys can tell me if I'm completely wrong, do we get an opportunity for like a minor change to approve that? Or
you do.
That's what I would like to do, just to make sure we've all looked at it, the board has looked at it, and we concur.
Okay, you say
I can't do it without you guys.
You say you're moving utilities. What utilities?
Water, sewer, drain.
Electric?
What about electric?
Yes, electric as well.
And gas?
There's no gas. There's no gas.
All right.
Except what's in my stomach.
I can tell you how to do that because I'm pretty good at that now.
I don't know if we can consider that a field change or not.
No, I think
Not
it
if
would
you're moving
require
a road. I would say that'd be. I could consider it a minor change because we're not changing the direction or the road. You're just moving.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a major change to plan, like putting in a cul-de-sac or changing lot lines. But I still think
It's
it needs.
still within his right of way too.
Yeah, but
needs
this is
your
where I'm going to
approval.
need help for minor, major, and is a minor change. I mean, I don't know the definition. That's my issue. Anybody help me?
It needs to be, at least it needs to be reviewed and voted by you guys. Whether or not you hold a public hearing is completely up to you. But really, the only abutter there is me. So it's not going to really matter. But and I'm sorry, and the nuns. But that's not going to matter. I mean, so whether you hold a public hearing or not, if you want me to file it, it's just let me know, Dave, if you want me to file it as an amendment to the plan, or if you just want me to come in with the plans and, you know, you have Carl review them and then you guys can tell me how you want to handle it. It's completely up to you guys. I can file a Form C with it and call it an amendment. I don't think it needs to be, but I'm happy to do that.
Over what distance is this division going to be?
So when you come in off the street and if you're familiar with, if you've looked up there, it curves about maybe what, 200 feet up?
Yeah.
So you come in about 50 feet straight and then maybe 150 feet of it slides over, straightens out.
So, Clea, you saying it comes in 50, and then you're going to add another 20 or 30 feet to that curve to get the whole 150 feet to slide over 20 or 30 feet?
I'm not adding anything. I'm taking away.
Okay, I got to see something.
So in other words, if it comes in right now. If you can picture it, I don't know if Julian's still on, but we've got a plan drawn, but we don't have it finished. I can at least get that over to Dave tomorrow, what we have drawn. But what happens is it comes in about 50 feet straight, and then it curves away over to the right. It just and it's staked. You can walk it. It's staked where the edge of pavement is right now. So if where it curves way over to the right, I'm just going to slide it over to the left.
Oh, so you are taking away. So you'll back that 50 feet to maybe 30 feet in, and then it'll make the curve.
Yeah, and I'm going to leave it at but starting where it makes the curve, I'm going to slide it over so it straightens it out.
Okay.
So and then it'll just go up the hill straight. It didn't make any sense. I was driving up there the other day and I looked at it and I go, "What are you laying out?" And the guy says, "Well, this is the edge of pavement." I go, "It's on the edge of the cliff." I said, "What? There's no houses going on the other side of the road. Why don't we just move it over?" And Julian, he went up and looked at it. He concurred. He said, "I don't know why it was done this way. You know, he didn't do it. My guys did it when I had my own engineers, and you know, it was done wrong. It was done incorrectly. It needed to be changed."
So I guess I'm looking for the procedure because I've not been on the board when this has happened.
I don't know. I'd want to take a look at the plans.
Okay.
Sure.
But
We'll show you old and new.
I am thinking it sounds like you could very likely call for a public hearing. It'll be on just that one item.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So.
Okay.
Anyway.
And who said there was erosion? Who's talking about erosion up there?
Oh, you should read that report that was copied to you from.
I did. I read it. He said it went by the erosion controls, but the erosion controls aren't right on the edge of wetland.
Yeah, but you got the Hoover Dam going across Oakley Drive.
Oh man, I'm telling you, have you seen the water that comes down there?
Yeah, that's bothered me.
Oh man. Well, we're fixing it. Well, Tommy went over that with Joe. We're going to add a drop inlet connected to a catch basin, and then put another catch basin on the other side of Woodside, and we're going to crown the road more, and it'll fix it.
Clea, is that a change to the design?
No,
not at all. Are you sure about that?
That is a field change, my friend.
Yeah, but didn't we say that we wanted to know about any changes that happen? I'm not saying you got to draw it up, but a little heads up to the board, so when we're talking to owners, we can have an idea what we're talking about.
This just happened on Friday. Give me a break.
Well, Carl can get reports out in 24 hours, so I'm saying.
Well, We've been going over that with him, and
All right.
Joe Buckley has been again, involved in that and helping us with, with his direction on how we should handle it, because, when there's a double catch basin around the corner,
I see that.
and the water just doesn't get to it. So we've got to. It's not just pitching the road. We've got to actually catch it before it gets there and tie it into it.
Okay. And then you can get rid of the Hoover Dam that's at the end of Oakley Drive.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Hey, have you been on there to see the first phase? We're paving that on Friday, We're gonna put the finished coat on that on Friday.
I'll let you
Yeah.
ask.
Which brings me to one of my more favorites.
Yes.
The access to the rail trail, which has lots of work yet to be done.
Part of phase 1, my friend. I know it.
But you're gonna put and Norm's asked this, and I'm just being a parrot right now.
Okay.
You're gonna finish coat that road and then possibly bring heavy equipment in to work on the rail trail. Does that make sense?
No, we don't need to access it from there.
You'll come in from phase 2?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna wreck that new road for nothing. It's gonna be beautiful when it's done. I can't wait to get it done.
Did you say something about the rail trail out of phase 1?
No, I said the rail trail is part of the connected to the rail trail is part of phase 1, as you told me repeatedly.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Just want to make sure I heard you.
Yeah. So I'll ask the other question that's been on my mind. You thinking of try to have this accepted for the fall town meeting, or are you going to wait till spring?
No, I'm hoping to get it accepted for the fall town meeting. I've got a little bit left to do on the as-builts, get them submitted. I have spoken to Dave about this a little bit, and all the bounds are in, all the other work, the curbing is done, the sidewalks finished coat are on, everything's ready. All I need now is the what do you call it? The as-builts. Kyle needs to review them and give me a punch list, and we're done. After Friday, we're pretty much going to be almost ready.
But the rail trail's still.
Yeah, but that's honestly not a lot of work. I know you think it is, but it's not.
All right.
And here's a just a little tidbit. Carl Hulkren indicated to you that there were definitely places where the binder course of pavement was extending beyond the berm.
Yes.
Particularly, I think it's on Sedona.
That's correct.
We have a subsequent report, not from Quinn, but a subsequent report that some of those areas were loamed and seeded, and that excess base coat was not removed.
Okay, I will tell you that this is what we did. There was excess base coat in some areas, but not in all areas. We removed the excess base coat where it needed to be removed, and we left what would be normal everyday construction practice behind the berm. You can't. I'll wreck the berm if I get too close to it, Norm. And on the other side of it, the berm comes to almost right to the edge of pavement. So, what, in my opinion, my brother's opinion, and everybody's opinion, we cut what we need. Joey went over that with Carl, what he did.
Okay.
And then we loam seeded over it. And I did get multiple emails after that happened from all of the residents, or the residents on Sedona, some of them. But I said the same thing to them last night.
Okay.
Clay, Nick Nugent, the area of pavement in front of 10 Sedona was equal to the area of pavement in front of 9 Sedona. I mean, I provided pictures that clearly show this. I just don't understand why it's such a major issue. I mean,
it isn't. We cut what we needed to cut, Nick.
But so why did you cut mine if you wouldn't cut his?
because it didn't need
They're
it.
the same.
I
They're
don't.
the same amount of pavement.
We don't agree. They're
Well,
not the same.
the pictures don't agree with
I
you.
saw it in front of your house. It was excessive. And in front of the house next to you, it wasn't excessive. Plus, there's 6 inches of loam over that. That's
No,
not,
there's not 6 inches of loam over that. And
there
you
is.
admitted to me yourself on the phone that any pavement that's under future grass will burn out. I mean,
I
listen,
said
this is my house has been taken care of. I appreciate that. I just think you're being unfair.
listen, I do what's right. And I'm there. I'll tell you what, if it burns where you're talking about, I'll take it back and I'll cut it and I'll fix it. It's not going to burn. It's
Okay,
not going to burn.
Then please respond. Please reply to the email so we have that in writing.
You got it, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Moving on.
Okay, anything more on Brice Lemon?
No, other than the fact, which, if Clee's still on, I think
I am.
a good time to tell him that because of some of these issues, we're going to give video and other evidence to discuss it with DEP.
DEP on what? You don't think DEP's there every week?
But I don't have any reports saying they've been there. All I got is Carl's. So
What
I
do you
need
want
to.
to know? What do you think that anything happened with any erosion that hasn't been? We don't call the Concom right away. Stay in your circle, stay in your lane.
I am staying in my lane because
no, you're not. I do what I'm supposed to be doing, and I do it right. And I report if there's any type of erosion ever. Peter Crane gets a call immediately. That's not up to the DEP. It's up to Peter. You tell Peter and you ask him if he's been made aware of any of it, and he'll tell you he has, because Tom's called him himself.
I've got a bullet here from Phase 3 that was sent to the planning board that says, although not the planning board's purview, the board may want to note that some of the sedimentation was observed beyond the erosion control barriers at diversion swale discharges.
What does that have to do with erosion control? Erosion into the wetlands? That's not what he's saying. You don't set the erosion control barriers at the edge of the wetland. You set the erosion control barriers before it so it doesn't get into the wetland. Go down there. I'll tell you what. Come down in the morning. I'll take a walk in there with you, and if you can find any erosion control, I'll kiss your ass. Any erosion in the wetlands, I'll kiss your ass. There's none. And if there ever was, Peter got a call. And it's not the planning board's purview. He said it right there. It's Peter's purview, and that's who we call. I mean that. I mean, I'm telling you, you look at the erosion controls that we have up there, and you'd be impressed. You'll be impressed. I want you to come up and take a walk with me, and look at how we're controlling the water. Really. That is
I guess, a big part of this whole thing is, we're looking at the middle to the end of September, and we look at Phase 2 and we see Phase 3, and there's just an awful lot of unstabilized open land. And we also have a very, very good memory of what happened on Bear Hill.
I know, and so do I, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure. And
yeah, that's what I'm getting at, Norm. That's all.
We just number one feel we kind of need to stay on top of some of this stuff and not let anything bad happen.
I'm with you 100%. So I ask you to come up there with me, Dave, you, Carl, whoever you want to come. And by the way, that entire side by the wetland, we've seeded already. Did you know that? When you said open land, we've seeded that already. There's diversion swales. There's water dissipators, big, huge riprap in them. You got to come up and take a look. Carl's there. He knows. And he can tell you. That's why I say it, and I think Tim had a good suggestion. Get him involved in this stuff. If he writes a report and you guys want to talk about it, whatever time that costs, it costs me. So have him there, and it takes a lot of the guessing out of it. Or come down and take a look. You guys would be impressed. I'm telling you right now. I haven't forgotten Bear Hill. the potential fines in the report that the Attorney General put were $1.3 billion he put in his brief to the court. So I don't want to get into another situation like that. Come down, take a look. We've seeded that entire slope that goes to the left after we moved it. It's good. There's grass growing there. The water's all controlled. Everything's in diversion swales. Everything goes into those ponds, and we clean those ponds every time it rains. It rained so damn hard this summer. In some cases, we had no issues, none. Come up and take a look. Honestly, I want you to come take a look.
All right.
I'm around. I might, but I can't promise.
Okay, anything more on Brice Lemon?
No.
And I think we've.
Hey, can I ask you guys a question before you crank out? Were you okay with that ANR for the what do you call it?
No, we denied it.
Oh, you guys.
I'm just messing with you.
I know. That's where the pot store's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's I think we're gonna sign it, right?
Yeah, we approved it, but it's gonna cost you.
I know, another $50, right?
No, more than that.
More than that.
Oh, God.
I want to put a Taco Bell stand up next to that so I can make some money too.
Did you guys get the letter that we sent about rezoning that area too, across the street?
I don't think Dave's shaking his head no. Yeah, I'd heard something about it, which was the rezoning across in the Sims building.
Yes, Sims and all that area there, and there's some of it like where my grandfather's house it needs to go back to residential, so that we put that in the thing too, because that zone business back, or light industrial through his house.
But isn't that TC? That's TC.
No, it's not T. That's the problem. We want to make it. We wanted to make it a business district with a TC2 overlay. We sent a letter. I saw it. I don't know, but George sent it because I did promise the ZBA I would do that.
You don't have it, Dave?
The office has not received the letter, but I was expecting it. We did discuss this under a prior proceeding relative to a zoning board matter. There was an agreement to rezone the area so that the area can do, what is necessary to further economic development. So this is part of that process. Once we get the letter, we will schedule it. I think we'll be looking to take this in the spring.
Yeah.
In terms of the rezoning, but at least we can schedule it. We can start to do the outreach to the public, and just like we did with the other bylaw changes that have been done recently, we're going to treat it in the same way.
Excellent.
Okay.
So we do
Tell George to get it done.
I would just say we do appreciate the timely response to the request. So once we have it, we'll start to put things in order, put together a plan, a project, and we'll see. We'll get this to the springtime meeting with the planning board's work along the way on it, of course.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, are we ready to move on? Okay, next agenda item is follow up on Chapter 61A request, RDIC Solar Project, 46 Barre Road ANR request, Welch Ave ANR request, planning board correspondence.
Yeah, if I could, this is just correspondence that the board was looking for. It's just follow up on items that were dealt with at previous meetings. There's no action that's necessary. This is really for the board's information at this point.
Okay. So.
And we've sent this Irish Lane, Emerald, and Turkey Hill to the select board because it wasn't on their agenda last night that I remember, or maybe I missed it.
I don't know.
Okay, so it'll be on their next agenda.
Yeah.
No?
So.
I believe the only reason they would take it up is if the assessors said that it, or someone else makes a claim that it's actually still in 61A.
Oh, okay.
I think the board was aware of this at the last meeting, but at that time, there was no formal rescission of the request from the applicant or their attorney.
Okay.
So just to be cautious,
We
treat
went ahead
this
and-
as a live matter, and the information's been put out there. So if the board that has the decision-making authority does not think this is a live matter, at least the planning board has done its
Okay, we've done our due diligence.
That's right. And in the worst case, it's just 100. I mean, I'm not a favor of large delays, but it's no more than 120-day delay for the person who asked it to come out of 61A.
Presuming we don't want to buy it.
But
I would say that would be consistent with the town's positions thus far.
But did we ever get anything from the
I was gonna
Board of Assessors showing us where?
I was gonna,
maps.
after we got done with this one, I looked at the next one, it was something else, so I was gonna let the board know that I asked Candace, if I remember her name right, and I apologize if I got it wrong, to provide through David for the board a list of all 61A properties, and with those 61A properties, which ones are APR'd and CR'd. So we can have a list of those at our, so when this comes up, we can say, okay, Johnson property, 61A, but APR'd or has a CR on it. It's, do we want to do anything with that? Because we can't use it for town buildings or future planning. We can just use it for agricultural.
It's not far enough yet. That's not good enough. Because of the Viner property, how many acres were involved of open space? And they allowed the forest land. Show on the map where that is.
Yeah, she wasn't going to give me a map. She was going to give me
to me, you're
nobody.
We need to know, how can we put a house where it may still be 61A?
If we want a map, we're going to have to pay for it because there's nobody in the assessor's department, this is my opinion, I could be wrong, that has that skill set. She can give us an Excel spreadsheet, but
That it's up to them to go to the landowner and show where they want that piece of property, how they want it mapped out.
yeah,
It's not up to us, it's up to them. They're the ones that have the 61A, it's their responsibility. Every year, they have to file, so it's up to them. They should have show on a map where you have your 16 acres of open, show on the map where the 16 acres of woodland are.
Is that part of the filing procedure?
No, it isn't.
Oh.
But how can we turn around and say, okay, we can allow them a house lot here, but we don't know if it's still under 61A or not? Because it doesn't show it on a map. And I'm sorry, but they're going to have to show it.
I guess I'd give them the first chance to see what we get out of them and see what use it is. And if it's not useless, then we need to go to option 2, which is ask for a map. I just don't know what they're going to give us, and I don't know what she's going to do.
Well,
I asked.
To me, it's something that needs to be taken care of, and it's their responsibility. I'm sorry, but I mean, how can we act on something that's not showing it correctly?
Dick, I don't disagree with you on any point. I'm just looking at it from a logistics standpoint and the lack of money this town has of how we're going to get this done. I think it's everything you said. I agree with.
Well,
I'm
it's
just
up
thinking
to the landowner. Let them turn it back to the landowner.
Yeah, I agree, but it'll never happen. I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? What ability do they have to enforce it? They have no enforcement. They can't enforce anything. I mean,
they could turn down the 61A.
That's about the only thing they could do.
Correct. Well, how do we do it? How can we do our?
I think with the tools we have right now, we're handicapped beyond belief. But my first step was to ask the assessors for the board to at least get us a list so we can see what's out there. So when David gets a request or something, we can actually maybe go look that up on the GIS map to see what's there. At least we have that. I mean, up until I asked for this request, we had nothing. We just get a request and then go to the GIS and try to figure out where it is. Unless it was part of the filing, but was part of the legal filing and it would show the layout. But we didn't always get that until, we're 30 or 60 days into this thing.
I know.
I would prefer to know about it. It's coming down the pike from the select board's going to issue to us. We've got a list. Maybe we can look at a map and be a little bit proactive instead of reactive. I don't know. But I wanted to give her a chance to at least give us something, because right
I
now we don't
agree.
have.
I'm not gonna argue with that point.
But if it
Agree.
comes back and the board doesn't think it's useful, then I have no problem going back and asking the assessor for, another tool. I'm just trying to make the point that they don't have any money. So
Well, yeah.
if we ask them to do drawings like a Scanlon, where's that coming from? It's not.
No.
It'll never happen. So I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I'm just saying in reality, it's not going to happen.
Well, then have them give us a letter stating as such.
I find it hard to believe that they can have property declared under 61A with no
map,
no
Yeah,
plot plan.
I agree too. How's that happen? It's got to be filed somewhere.
It is I have never got, when I worked on the open space and recreation plan, I got that exact list of 61A properties at that time. And it says words like 65.85 acres of the total, whatever size of the 85-acre parcel.
And that's it.
That's pretty much what they had. I don't know if meets and bounds need to be part of the 61A or any chapter designation. I don't know what goes into it. All I know is what I got from the assessor's office, which is my best guess. Everything they have in their spreadsheet, in their database, I should call it.
It could be that it can't really even be determined.
It might be. I don't know. Again, it's going to depend upon what the state requires for a 61A designation. And if the state doesn't require a formal meets and bounds, then we're not going to be able to put it on a map.
Yeah.
Nobody can put it on a
Then
map.
how can we turn around and write off a house lot on it?
Exactly correct. That's a very, very good question.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that one. But the funny thing is, Peter, if they did that for you, me personally, I like reusing the same thing over. Should have just pulled that out of an Excel file and sent it to me or sent it to David if they've already done it.
Right, but again, this is now 4 years out of date.
Okay. Well, I don't
So
think we've
I would have
had
been happy to do it at the time if I'd known anybody was looking for it.
Oh, no. I want it officially from the assessor, but what I'm saying is if they've done it, it should be a quick update. And instead of going back and doing 50 years of it, you can do.
It may be better today than it was when I did it because they were still going through all the deeds to make sure that all the properties were properly documented in our system. And I know they're working on it for 2 years beyond when I asked them. So I'm hoping it's better than it was before, but I don't want to speak for them. I don't know the capabilities of their system.
Yeah, and the young lady I spoke with had just started in May or June, and I apologize, I don't know this. She said there's an assistant assessor that only works on Tuesdays, and I don't know who that is.
From Stoughton,
Okay.
I believe.
Sounds right.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So, but she has to ask her all the questions, so that's why obviously she's maybe got more experience or something. I'm not sure, but anyhow, I just want to tell the board and everybody that's on that I've already made that request, and hopefully that'll help us because this reactive 61A stuff I'm getting tired of. We seem to react.
Especially nowadays, it seems like a lot of it is starting to happen, and it's only going to get worse. So
yeah, and
trying to nip it in the bud.
And I've had these talks with multiple
hate this
people.
thing.
If land is not going to get cheaper.
No,
And
it
if the
is
town wants to plan, we need to grab land now where we can. Why I feel that we can afford it. In 10 years from now, you think things are going to get any better with the school systems and the costs? So, and that was my push, and I know I'm on my horse and I'm talking too much, but I like Skip's idea at the select board of putting it to the town for that decision as opposed to 5 people making the decision. I'd like to see the town make the decision from now on.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Should be up to the town people.
Yep, that's it. That's all my 61A that I wanted to bring up to the board.
Yeah.
So, wait till Norm gets back, and moving on to 7.
Well, you're on 7. That was
I think that
we
was
just did the first part of 7.
Oh.
So moving on to RDIC solar project, excuse me.
What's this man's RVs? Did I miss something on that?
Yeah, we already did that. Man's RV, that was that piece of property on 122 that was landlocked, and they're going to sell it.
Oh, yeah. I apologize. Yeah. Okay.
In the solar project.
And we sent the letter out for Bessie saying that we did not, was denied. Okay.
Yeah.
And then now the low solar project.
And we're in the process on that. I believe we're supposed to have a meeting on that. I believe it's next week now.
Well, there's a Friday 11:30 a.m. meeting.
That's RDIC.
No, the HPDD I thought is meeting tonight.
No,
I believe that
because they
meeting-
did not.
It's posted. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. It's
It
not
was
posted.
not posted. That's why it was
Somebody set
canceled.
up a meeting, a Zoom meeting for it, but
September
there was no
17th.
post.
Yeah. It wasn't.
Peter, that was me. I had set up the Zoom meeting and Chris forgot about the Monday holiday, so he wasn't
Yes.
posted within 48 hours. So he rescheduled it to next Thursday, the 17th. But Dave is also still waiting for the RDIC to confirm their meeting with the solar company. Excuse me, Harbor Classic Homes. Sorry, I've got too many things going on.
Okay. Yeah, we have to have a meeting on Friday at 11:30.
So that's next Thursday. I assume we'll want that done with the setup.
I'm not sure what the nature of that business is. I mean, there's a plan for solar. It's a concept plan. I'm not sure if it's just a conversation about the plan, if it's an actual review of the concept plan. I'd have to defer
Steve,
to,
I can't speak specifically, but Chris did invite Rennie Friedman and somebody else from TRC to discuss it.
right. However, that's beyond the scope of this meeting. So
Yeah,
perhaps they
yeah,
can
I
follow up
apologize.
separately with the relevant parties to determine how best to cover that for cable's purposes.
Okay. That's everything. isn't it?
I like it here.
So if we're all done with our agenda items, I'd like to put my 48-hour notice item up.
So, well, so go ahead. I've got one more little thing.
Okay, no, go ahead, Norm. I can wait.
Okay, I have been rather troubled. This is going back to the Welch Ave ANR, where we requested an opinion from town council, and the applicant then requested a copy of that, and it was argued primarily because I guess I'll say a statement at the bottom of the email.
Yeah.
That it was not public information. Number one, I can't buy that. Number one, that statement probably goes on the bottom of virtually every single one of their emails.
Mhm.
It's intended to protect attorney-client privilege. And this document that we received was openly discussed in an open meeting. Parts of it even quoted. I don't think it is proper for us to deny that. I think when we do that, it becomes part of the public record. It should actually be part of the minutes of the meeting.
If I may, through the chair on that, Norm,
What?
can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, just barely.
Yeah, I'm in trouble with my phone. I think with the term privilege, the lawyer-client privilege is it's to the person's privilege to use that. So just because they say it's not a public doc, it's like your medical records, right? No one else could put out your medical records unless you give them permission. But since those medical records are yours, you're allowed to do with anything you want. And nothing can be said that it's a violation of the Health Information Privacy Act because you put it out. So I believe it same goes with any type of documents that's sent to us.
it's to our privilege whether we want to put them out or not. Now, I agree. It's to our purview, and I agree we should release all information to all people. But I don't think that we're legally meant to keep those hidden from the public.
Mm-hmm. I just
I don't know.
I've been in too many
Yeah.
arbitration meetings to know whenever I get a document from an attorney and it says privilege and confidential, that is meant for.
Let's put it this way: if it said that right at the very top of the email, maybe I'd agree.
If I could,
It's a disclaimer at the bottom of the email that goes out, and I'll bet it goes out with every one of their emails.
It does. If I could, we've answered the question before, and the question is, so an attorney does work for the board. Who owns that information? The board owns and controls that information. However, the board, by its own vote, can release that information to the public. That's within the board's prerogative. The disclaimer on the bottom of the email is different than a privileged and confidential header. They're two different things. It happens on my emails. My emails have the same thing. So if they end up in the wrong hands, it's supposed to be disregarded by that party. So it is the board's prerogative, as we've indicated previously, that the board can vote to release that opinion to the applicant.
Dave, so do we have to do a vote first before we can say anything about it?
No. The board can
Okay.
discuss it in part of the meeting and part of the information gathering session that's happening with this ANR. If the board wants to release the actual document, the primary source material itself, that requires the vote. Discussing the primary source material in and of itself does not require the vote. However, once you do discuss the matter in some substantial detail, your rights to not then release the whole document to the public are diminished, as opposed to not speaking on the matter in the first place or taking the matter in an executive session that's worthy of that. So once again, the chair, I believe, has made some relevant points on how this ought to be handled. And I'll leave it to the board whether they want to release this retroactively. If that's the case, we will send it out first thing in the morning.
I'm sticking with my vote.
And that was a vote to not release it, Norm?
That was our vote at the last meeting.
To not release it, okay.
Right. Like I say, I just think that's wrong. If it's something to do with the character of somebody, if it was something that was going to be, let's say, part of a lawsuit.
That's my problem with that is I'm not going to build somebody's case by giving them all the information against the town. And that's basically what she did. If somebody wants to go hire a lawyer and research what Amy did, great, go hire a lawyer. But I'm not going to give them the ammunition that we paid for from our attorney to build their case to sue us. Oh, no way. And that's my opinion.
I realize that there is a proprietariness, if that's a word, of the information. But I don't know. Once that document is discussed in open meeting, I think it's open to all.
Yeah, what constitutes a public document by state law? I don't know, to be honest with you.
Did we have a written letter from her requesting it?
No, I don't.
Why don't we ask Amy, should we release it?
I'm happy. If anybody really wants to, I suggest, yeah.
I'm okay with it. If she says release it, I won't have any problem with the board releasing it.
Actually, what I've just recited is the advice we have from town council already. That it's the
But
board's
then we can't release that opinion either.
It's the board's prerogative to. We already have that.
Okay.
I don't think we need to go get that again. We already have that. If the board decides to release the work product, that's the board's prerogative. I don't think we don't. This is advice we've already provided in the past. In fact, letters have been released to a previous speaker here tonight relative to Brice Lemon or other situations. So this is not a new situation by any means.
You know what? I'll reverse my. If we want to redo it again, that's fine.
I'm not asking you to do this. I'm just making an editorial comment.
Yeah,
let's put it this way. I think that maybe the next time we have something like this come before us, we ought to think a little bit before we do open up and have a discussion whether or not we should or should not.
Yeah, this was I must admit, this is a shame on me. I know better when we get attorney's advice that is against what normally happens. Probably should have did an executive session or something like that. Get advice on how to handle this, knowing where this was going to go. So, but I guess, Norman, to your point, in all fairness, because maybe it wasn't handled perspective, I can reverse my vote.
But I won't.
Yeah.
I'm
not asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all have to make a motion.
Case by case, and let's leave it at that.
I think at the moment, because we had not heard from her, no letter to the town or town planning.
I guess I'll make that point, Dick. If she puts a letter in asking for it, I'm amicable to backing down on my vote. Yeah, at that point. But until then, you're right. I'll stick with what I've got for a vote. But if she requests that document, then I guess we can discuss it then.
I'm just curious, Peter, what do you think about this situation?
I am actually leaning more towards you, Norm, and your basic opinion that it should have been released. I believe that a substantial part of it had been directly quoted, which itself violated privilege if there were any remaining. Or so by the board's actions, the board fundamentally has already made a substantial part public. Making the remainder public officially is a minor act from there. I also agree with what I've heard tonight, that you guys should discuss attorney-client work product in executive session so that you have a strategy moving into the public session when that occurs. That's my opinion. So I personally, if it were up to me, I would release it. I believe that's, to Norton's point, it gives the reasoning that the applicant can understand for why why the application was denied, or whatever was not endorsed. Because when all they have is upon advice from attorneys to not, which I believe was the wording of the motion to not endorse, that doesn't give any information to the applicant about what happened. And that is not transparent government.
But yet to the engineer, he knew, but not to the applicant.
To the engineer.
Because this is the second time.
Because the 2018 letter's been out there for 2 years.
And I don't, and I understand that fact. But I think it fundamentally doesn't change the basics around this issue of how much was read and how much information the applicant has about why it was denied. Because based on what was said for the reason, the applicant has no idea what to do and what to change in order to meet the desire of the planning board.
Okay, anyway.
So, enough said.
So, Tim, you got something?
Yeah, it was in the select board last night. It was brought up Ridge Road. There's 116 acres over there, and again, and the road in 1986 there was a warrant put together to brought before the town in the spring of '87, if I remember the discussion correctly, for a road to be abandoned. And the select board at that time took no action on it. So it was, quote, still on the books. Still in the books as a town road.
Tim, there's some confusion in there.
Okay.
Was there a town meeting warrant article or was there not? Was there action not taken by the select board to place, or was there no action at town meeting to act upon the warrant article? There are significant differences between those two.
And what I was going to get at is all this information from what I gathered last night was all hearsay. There was no facts behind it. Yet the DPW chief, and again, this was my interpretation on the phone call, was going to jump on and get that road fixed and get it up to passability. I'm not saying upgraded to passability. I had a huge problem with that from the planning perspective.
Tell me about it.
Nobody in 33 years had done everything. And again, this was me, just my interpretation. Now that you possibly want to sell property for housing or a subdivision, now the town has to bring the road up to standard. No, it'll go on a list and it'll get done when the Chapter 90 money becomes available for that road.
Is it really a road?
That's all part of the. Somebody's got to do research on this.
Mystery today.
That's
Yeah.
right. And that's one of the reasons why I sent a note to Leo.
Last item.
And I have to go back through all the minutes of the planning board because it was my father and Harry Johnson who fought tooth and nail about this thing. And I thought at the end of it, they said, that it was taken off the books and everything else, it was all done.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden to hear this, but I've got to go back through the minutes, and I told Joe that I will be doing that.
Okay.
And
I just consider this a planning board, or since we're in charge of the roads and things like that, it's a planning board issue. Now, fixing the roads and upgrading, that's the chief. I get that.
But it was abandoned, and then they looked for it to find out was the road ever accepted, and that's what they couldn't find way back when. And so that's why I've got to go back to the 50s, because Wachusett Street from basically, like say, Overlook all the way down to the beyond the town line was put in 1957. So that's why I got to go back into the 50s to read what the heck happened when that road was put in. Did George Willis at the time say, hey, let's abandon the old Brook Station Road?
And that's the new road then.
That was the new road that was put in. And that's why
and that was Dick, that's what the point I was making is, like, before we go off and just start fixing things, let's make sure we're spending town money on roads that need to be fixed.
Yeah. So this road doesn't really exist as a traveled road.
No, it sounds to me, again, I haven't driven.
It's got maple flow lines
It
across
can only be walked. It cannot be driven.
That's right. That's right.
And then the next point I wanted to make, it said that it connected to a road in Princeton, and I didn't get to ask the question because it was an open session for non-select board members. Is the road on the other side in Princeton passable coming into Rutland?
There are houses there.
Yeah,
It's
in
a
fact,
dead-end
Princeton
road.
maintains it.
Okay, so it's just up to the Rutland line, and then at the Rutland line, it's basically a cart walking trail. It's not a car trail. Okay.
That's correct.
Well, then maybe that needs to be fixed. I don't know. But before we did that, I me personally, and again, this is a personal issue, I got Palmagussit. That's a freaking tank trap out here, and I'm going to go fix a road so somebody can build houses. As a taxpayer, I'm not cool with that.
And not only that, we have, I'm pretty sure the 61A, because there's a dairy farmer that is using the property for cow corn on it. So
that's all I wanted to bring to the board is.
And everybody's saying we got to do it in a hurry.
Yeah, and see that was the frustration. Is like, shouldn't you ask the planning board so we can research if the road is really a town accepted road? Because that's our responsibility to make the recommendation to the select board.
If I may, it is not up to the planning board to decide whether or not it's a real road.
No, it isn't.
It's a matter of the town clerk and what happened at town meeting.
That's right.
Town meeting decides whether or not it's a real road.
But I
don't think planning board would have any part in it.
No, but back then, Harry and my father were involved in other things in this town too. So
Rather than commenting that we want it brought up to subdivision road standards, that could just be a request.
Yeah, and to me, for crying out loud, that's going to be horrendous.
Okay, let me ask this question from the board: who in the clerk's office is going to research that?
Well, that's.
And I know it's probably not our problem, but I'm just.
Well,
That's why I said, I remember it, that's why I'm gonna try to.
Anita's done a fair amount of road research
Okay.
in the past.
Yeah.
Because there have been, do you remember Glenwood Place Extension?
No.
Yeah, I remember.
And she did all the research on what happened at town meeting, which at the end of the day is what decides everything.
Yeah, and that actually came up to a 1947 road survey document that was brought before us, if I remember right. So that actual had Weaver Farm on there too, which that goes back a long way. Okay,
So,
I'm good.
so
I just
it,
wanted
it may be a much more complicated problem to define, and it depends on exactly what the documentation the town has and when the documentation was made.
Yes.
Because the documentation may not go all the way to the town line, which would really anger some people, but that's not the point. The point is we need the documentation in order for what we can prove was accepted by the town at town meeting. We need documentation to prove what the town has declared to the state as public ways
for the Chapter 90 money.
and how much money we've gotten for it.
Okay.
And that's all of that stuff is interrelated to a degree.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'll back out. And
it's too bad. I mean,
Now, I'm not suggesting that you don't put a formal request for the town clerk's office to say, would you please research this stretch, the ownership of this stretch of road as far as town meeting is concerned. That's an entirely appropriate request. In my opinion, that request should have already been put in by the select board. And maybe that's what happened as a result of last night's meeting. I don't know.
Okay, and then I'll just ask the select board as a citizen, have you done that?
Too bad.
Fair enough.
Because my point being is, it's now talking about this, it really isn't a planning board issue, so move on.
Yeah. Because it was his father, it was George Willis, when they were building the road, then it was Carl Christensen Senior, who was DPW, and then Junior took over. So, yeah.
Okay.
Going back a long ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's before my time, that's for damn sure. All right, that's it. That's the only thing I had.
And just a quick update on the Central Tree Road deal. I talked to, Joel was on vacation. I went down there and I left word with Nancy, and she was going to bring it up to Joe, and he and I haven't got together. Also went out to see Dan, and Dan has been on vacation. And I tried to call him the other day, and his mailbox is full, or whatever his phone thing. So I will be going back out to Shaft 8 to see him. So I'm not going to let that die either.
Don't let him give you the shaft.
Fun?
Don't let him give you the shaft.
No, I won't let him give me the shaft. No.
Is there any more business to come before the board?
Hearing none. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? In favor, last roll call of the evening. Tim?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Norm? Yes. We are adjourned.
Thank you.